So let's talk more about that move that potentially puts Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's already fragile governing coalition on even shakier ground. Following that Supreme Court ruling we mentioned, the Israeli military must begin drafting ultra-Orthodox Jewish men for military service. Now, up until now, ultra-Orthodox men had been exempt from the draft under long-standing arrangements, a situation that has long been a point of contention with the secular public. Now, the divide has only deepened during Israel's 8-month military campaign against Hamas. Here with us now to discuss how this came about and what it means for the Netanyahu government, national security expert and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State in the Obama administration, Joel Rubin. Joel, it's always good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Natasha. It's great to be with you.
So this ruling from the High Court in Israel means upwards of 63,000 ultra-Orthodox men currently in the middle of religious studies could potentially be drafted. How is this likely to shake up the apple cart here?
Boy, this is a significant ruling that we just saw from the Supreme Court in Israel. And it was a unanimous ruling, by the way. The ultra-Orthodox in Israel have been exempted from military service, as you mentioned, since the founding of the State of Israel, as part of an arrangement that was made. The thinking back in 1948 was that there wouldn't be very many ultra-Orthodox down the road. Well, it turns out the opposite has occurred. And now there are large numbers of ultra-Orthodox men who, instead of going to the draft, they study the Torah, they study Jewish texts, and they claim that that is their service. But now in the midst of this long war in Gaza, 8 months and ongoing, the longest war in the state of Israel's history since 1948, they need to, frankly, have more people signing up to the military. And so this is going to really rock Prime Minister Netanyahu's coalition, who explicitly wants to avoid this kind of dynamic from unfolding.
Yeah, tell me more about that. How does this present an issue for Netanyahu specifically?
Well, he has, Natasha, a lot of religious parties in his coalition who signed up to be members of this coalition in order to get benefits to their community, one of which is to not be drafted. And we saw a couple of weeks ago when the former defense minister, Benny Gantz, left the coalition government, he actually referred in a bit to this tension that he wanted religious members, parties who were represented in the government, to have their constituents be part of the Israeli Defense Forces. Got a lot of pushback from the prime minister. He left. Now the courts have made a decision. And the question is will these religious parties leave the prime minister's government, and if so, collapse the government, or will they try to get some kind of a deal, a legislative deal that they can push through the Israeli Knesset? They do have the majority, so that still is a possibility. But broad majorities of Israel's public support drafting the religious into the military.
Okay. And Joel, what are the chances this ruling actually goes into effect and then that those impacted will actually show up and willingly serve?
Well, right now it's in effect. Right now it is underway. And this means that Netanyahu and his team, they have to come up with a legislative fix quickly and pass it quickly. And that doesn't happen. It's like in our system as well. Quickly is not really how the Israeli parliament works, in particular in something as contentious as this, where there are members of the coalition who do want to see this draft go forward, very right-wing members who are secular, who want to see the religious in. So we could see a real crack up in his coalition. That said, even if there are new elections, this issue is still going to be part of a future negotiation over a formation of an Israeli government. So we're entering, if I may add, the period of instability on domestic politics in Israel that we saw last year before the October 7th strike by Hamas, where there were riots and protests, primarily, I should say, protests in the streets to try to protect the Supreme Court for just this reason, because of the tension between secular Israelis and religious Israelis.
Instability there. All right, Joel Rubin, always appreciate the context and time. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.